Good morning students, in the previous class we have discussed about the RS-232, introduction to RS-232 and the pin description and what is the function of each pin. That is, we have 9 pins in RS-232. So what are all the functions of each pin in RS-232 that we have discussed in the previous class. So among these 9 pins, the most important pin is going to be data deduct, like 1 minute. So it has got 9 pins. In that, the first pin is going to be your data carrier deduct, second pin is going to be your receive data, third pin receive data, fourth pin data terminal ready, fifth pin signal ground, sixth pin is data set ready, seventh pin request to send, eighth pin clear to send, and ninth pin is going to be your ring indicator. So all these things we have discussed in the previous class, and how exactly the flow of data is going to be in case of your RS-232. Okay, next one we are going to see how exactly you are going to connect. So all these things in the previous class I have discussed with an explanation and with an example. Now in this class I am going to establish a connection between your 8051 and RS-232. In this class we are going to establish a connection between 8051 to RS-232. So here the physical connection has to be given, because RS-232, as we discussed earlier, it is just like a port having a 9 pin, each pin having some function. So 5 pins at the top and 4 pin at the bottom. So it will be like a wire. So inside this there will be a group of wires. This group of wire is nothing but your bus, or we can call it as a channel. So we are going to establish a physical connection between your 8051 and RS-232. So the physical connection, why we need to give a physical connection in the sense, RS-232 is not compatible with the TTL device. TTL is nothing but transistor logic. So since it is not compatible, we need to drive the circuit to convert this R232 voltage level. So it will be having one voltage level, right? So you have to convert this RS-232 voltage level that is compatible to your TTL device. Then only it is possible for us to work. So we need to drive this RS-232 with max 232 chip to convert this RS-232 voltage level that is compatible with TTL. One more time I will repeat. To establish a connection between 8051 to RS-232. RS-232, it is a hardware. So you are going to establish a physical connection. When you establish a physical connection, as we discussed earlier, this RS-232 is a 9-pin port, okay, where each pin serves different purpose. So directly you will be connecting this to your computer. The other end will also be having a connector. So inside this there will be a group of wire. This group of wire is called as bus, or it is going to be your channel. So this RS-232 is not compatible with the TTL device. TTL means it is a transistor logic. So it is not compatible to TTL level. So we need to convert the voltage level of this RS-232. So we have to convert this voltage level of RS-232. That should be compatible with the voltage level of TTL, that is transistor logic. So we need to drive this RS-232 through some external chip, and we need to connect it to a microcontroller 8051. To do so, we are going to use a chip called MAX232. So that it will convert the voltage level of RS-232 compatible with TTL, and also when it is receiving the data, the voltage level of TTL will be compatible, like in vice versa, it will be compatible, and we will be transferring the data between RS-232 and to the computer. So the main interfacing between 8051 and the connection to RS-232 happens with the help of your chip called MAX232, that converts your RS-232 voltage level to a compatible with the TTL level logic, and vice versa. So here we have 2 pins. One is called RxD, another one is called TXD in 8051. So when you see the pin configuration of 8051, you'll see the pin configuration of 8051. So in this pin configuration, you have port 3. Port 3 serves with many purpose, like it will act dual purpose. It will act as a input port or output port, or it has got many more functions like receiving data, transmitting data, interrupts, handling the interrupts, read and write signal. So in this you have two pins called RxD and TXD. RxD and TXD is mainly meant for transmitting. RxD is used for receiving the data. RxD is meant for receiving the data and TXD is meant for transmitting the data. So receiving and transmitting between where? So you have to transmit and receive the data between any peripheral device. The peripheral, you can consider that to be a hardware device. So between your hardware device and the computer, you have to transmit and receive the data. That is done with the help of these two pins called RxD and TXD. So these two pins are specifically meant for transmitting and receiving the data serially, and it is a part of your port 3. So port 3 serves as dual purpose, that is it serves as a IO port, and also it has got special functionality for each of your port pins. Port 3, it is a 8-bit port, and from among this 8-bit port, so 8-bit port in the sense you can give the configuration like this: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it is a 8-bit port. This particular bit is represented as P3.0, P3.1. Likewise, it comes till P3.7. So each bit of this port 3 serves a purpose. So in this, the 0th bit is going to serve as a RxD, that is receive data. And first pin, that is in port 3, first pin is going to serve it as a TXD, that is transmitting data. So all these two pins are mainly meant for transmitting and receiving the data from your external hardware device. And also when you are transmitting or receiving the data, you have to check that these two pins should be compatible with your TTL logic. So if it is not compatible, then you have to connect the chip called MAX232. So if you are not connecting MAX232, then your microcontroller will not be compatible with your TTL logic, and so while sending or receiving the data, it will send or receive the erroneous data because it needs an external driver circuit. So in microcontroller 8051, only the port 0 will be driven with the external voltage. Why? Because it is not compatible. Apart from that, this port 3, port 2, port 1 all are compatible with your TTL logic. So there is that MAX232 chip is not required to be connected with port 3 in case of your 8051 microcontroller. Suppose in the specification or in the data sheets of 8051, if they had given if port 3 is not compatible with the TTL logic, then you have to connect the chip called MAX232 to make it compatible with the 232, to make it compatible with the TTL logic. So this is the importance of your P3.0 and P3.1 in case of your 8051 microcontroller, and also it has been discussed when we are handled our module 1. Now I wanted to discuss something about your MAX232. So what is meant by a MAX232? MAX232 is nothing but it is a chip that we are going to use it as an interface between your 8051 microcontroller and RS232. This RS232, you can call it as DB9. RS232, it is a interfacing port which is having a 9 pin. It is a 9 pin connector, so you can call it as a DB9 connector. So which we can call it as a DB9 connector. So here this RS232 in today's microprocessor or microcontroller, whatever we are having, it is not compatible with your TTL logic. So we need to drive the logic voltage level of RS232 that is compatible with your MAX230 with the TTL logic of your 8051. So you have to, this is compatible, your 8051 is compatible with your TTL logic. whereas this RS-232 is not compatible with TTL logic. So to make it compatible with the TTL logic, then only the synchronization can happen between these two things, right? Then only you can transmit or receive any data without any loss in data. So we need to connect the chip called MAX232 as an interface between your RS-232 and 8051 microcontroller. So we need a dual power supply, because here to supply power, to make this IC to work, we need to give 5 volt or 7 volt. Even to give supply, to make this MAX232 work, you need to give a supply voltage. So we need to give dual power supply to work for this 8051 microcontroller and MAX232. So it has got, this MAX232 has two sets of line drivers. So here, why we are having two sets in the sense, one for transmitting the data and other for receiving your data. So your MAX232 need to be supplied with a separate power supply of 5 volt. Even your 8051 has to be supplied with a separate power supply of 5 volt. Just because to initiate the operation of your, to make the IC to work, we need to give a power supply. To do so, you can either use a single RPS for both as a separate, or you can use a dual power supply between these two. You cannot connect the same 5 volt with this MAX232 because it will load the circuit. So you are not supposed to use a same power supply to connect your 8051 and MAX232. And also here this MAX232 has two line drivers, one for transmitting your data and other for receiving your data. So it is your MAX232 connection and the internal components, whatever it is available under MAX232, it is shown over here. Here you can see here T1 and T2. In this IC you can see here T1, T2. So this T1 and T2 is called as your line drivers. T1 and T2, whatever we are available here, it is called as your line drivers, which is mainly responsible for transmitting your data. While the line drivers it is for transmitting your data. And you have two more line drivers, that is R1 and R2. This is another line driver that is going to operate for receiving your data. So to transmit the data, you have two line drivers, that is T1 and T2. For receiving the data, you have two more line drivers, that is R1 and R2. So the MAX232 chip comprises of two line drivers, one for transmitting your data, another one for your receiving data. To transmit the data, you have two line drivers, that is T1 and T2. For receiving the data also, you have two more line drivers, that is R1 and R2. So for example, if T1 and R1 are used together, for example, if I am going to use T1 and R1 together, if I am going to use, it is used for transmitting in channel 1 and receiving the data in channel 1. That is, the second set can be left unused. So any one set can be used together to make it utilized for transmitting or receiving your data. Suppose if I wanted to, if I am using T2, I can use R2 for transmitting and receiving the data. If T2 is used for transmitting your data, I can use R2 for receiving the data. The other line drivers T1 and R1 can be left open. Left open in the sense it is unused. Likewise, you can utilize this particular T1 and R1 line drivers for transmitting and receiving your data. The next one is your, so in this, suppose if I am going to use T1 and R1, T1 is meant for transmitting the data and R1 is meant for receiving your data. This MAX232 chip is connected between 8051 and RS232. So it is just going to act as the interface to make the TTL level of RS-232 that is compatible with 8051. For that sake, we are going to use this MAX232. You can find a terminal called, this is 11th pin and 12th pin. The 11th pin here, it is going to stand with T1 in, and 12th pin it is going to stand with R1 out. It means that it is going to have it as an input, and this is going to be your output. It is your input for your transmitting your data, and this is going to be your output for receiving your data. And to make it compatible, you have to connect T1 out and R1 in to the pin of DB9. So in DB9 connector, the first pin is going to be data set ready, second pin is going to be RXT, and third pin is going to be, so second pin is RXT and third pin is going to be TXT. So using these two pins that is available in your DB9 connector, these using the pins of RXT and TXT in DB9 connector, we are going to connect this particular pin to MAX232 logic to make the TTL level of RS-232 to be compatible with 8051 TTL logic. This is how you can establish the physical connection between 8051 to RS-232. So all these things I have explained over here. So this is the connection showing. You could see here it is your first pin. First pin is left open because it is your data terminal ready. Second pin, it is your receiving data, and third is your transmitting data. So the receiving data line and the transmitting data line has to be connected to the MAX232 logic to make this RS-232 TTL logic to be compatible with 8051 TTL logic. This is the physical connection that has been shown. It is your 8051 data in and data out. So it is your MAX232 for establishing a synchronization, that is to make the voltage levels of RS-232 to be same as that of your 8051. So these are all the basic things that you guys are supposed to write it when you establish a connection between your 8051 and RS-232. In the next class, we will be seeing how to transfer the data using serial buffer register, how to control the data, like using what register we can control the data to be transferred from your transmitting end to the receiving end. Thank you, students.